Well, let me tell you nice things Jack says.
Oh.
Fuck you, Mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Gives people the fingers, too.
What? All of them?
Fuck off, Max.
Jesus.
I should tell him he's a little shitter.
Let
He's a little shitter.
him ponder that for a little while.
I mean, I guess we should start with Static, because that's...
Is that the order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Static is before Back to School.
Is that right?
Yes. So in between Legend of Billie Jean and Back to School, there's a moment where Keith seems happy to be acting again.
Oh, and then Combat High, whatever that is.
My name's Jason.
My name is Jules.
And
We doing filmographies. Static seems to be making a resurgence.
what do you mean?
I did a little digging, just kind of trying to find. I actually ended up seeing that article that you sent me before I looked at it.
So you ruined it? You ruined the ending of the movie for yourself?
No, I didn't read through the whole
Ooh,
thing, just
this
the
is awesome.
beginning. Yeah, the ending, boy, that really caught me by surprise. I thought that really turned the movie around for me, to be honest.
Really?
I didn't think it was a terrible movie.
It's kind of good. It had some good things in it.
I can, if that would have been made like now, like post like Primer and all these like really like indie kind of things, a little tweaking here and there, I think that could have done fairly well. I think it gets bogged down too much in the sort of quirky kind of like ancillary characters, like the cousin.
He's the best.
He's great,
the best
but
part
the
of the
role
movie.
doesn't really
Flow? Great.
do anything. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary how like left field it is.
Yeah.
He's preaching, then
It's a hustle.
it's a hustle, right? Then he's like got his Fallout gear on, and
Yeah.
they're drinking Tang.
Great.
Yeah,
I felt there were like lingering shots that the director maybe thought looked better than they actually did.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't have quite enough substance, and your camera and set work isn't quite there. A lot of the times it is. A lot of the times it's working fine. And I think Keith kills it. He's real good in this.
he's pretty good.
He's got the charisma back. He's got that Keith charisma.
What is it about the 80s and guys in trench coats?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it must be 50s or 40s throwback, right?
And it must be, because it's like him,
Quirky, I wear the trench coat.
RDJ in Back to School, John Cusack in that movie with the boombox.
Oh, sure. Say anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be like a 40s researching.
Have we divulged what we're even talking about?
No,
at this point?
We're talking about 1986's Static, 1985's
Yeah.
Static, directed by Mark Romanek.
Co-wrote by
Keith Gordon.
and Mark.
Mark Romanek, yeah. They teamed up on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you the synopses here. Bum, bum, bum. It's rated R.
Really? Because of the violence?
I mean, the violence isn't...
There isn't any
They don't show it.
profanity.
No.
He calls her a whore, I think, at one point. But
Okay, but tits?
no
Oh,
tits.
that's it.
No.
Ah. Fired from Religious Artifacts Factory, Ernie, Keith Gordon, invents a TV to bring in a live show from heaven. I think, so, I mean, what he said, Mark Romanek, who has distanced himself from this movie thoroughly and claims 1 Hour Photo is his debut feature film,
Yeah.
which came out 17 years
2002.
later.
Yeah, he did 19 years, I think, of
Yeah.
music videos. And, like, accomplished ones. Some that I've seen.
Yeah, and he's still doing them.
Yeah.
Beyonce, Lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he made a movie before he knew how to make movies and before he had anything to say, and it's juvenile. And he said to the interviewer, "Thank you, I'm glad that you liked it," but he has no interest in the movie, which is a bummer. I totally get where he's coming from, because as an accomplished director as he is now, looking back at that must be pretty horrifying. But you're discounting like all the cult of Static. I mean, people do appreciate this movie. This is a better movie than some of these other Keith Gordon movies. Like,
Absolutely.
movies.
Right.
I mean, I enjoyed it more than Back to School.
I mean, is it that much worse than, like, Pie or Bottle Rocket?
Right. That's pretty on par with those.
You know what I mean? Like, and this...
It felt like it was a 90s indie movie, too.
It did,
feel like
yeah.
It was from the mid-80s.
No, and it very much felt ahead of its time. And, like, if the next one could have been his, Requiem for a Dream. You know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
The beginning was a little weird.
I mean, it really felt like a 90s quirky movie. That's what it starts off at the Crucifix Factory, right? Is that where we start?
No,
it starts with
up
the
the
music.
rock concert.
That band fucking rules. I think they're called Plugs. But like as soon as they started playing music, I was like, oh, this band in the movie, I actually am enjoying the music. The whole soundtrack to this thing's pretty good.
It is. And I had no idea that was Amanda Plummer.
I had no idea Amanda Plummer was Christopher Plummer's daughter.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that either. And now that you mention it, I don't know if I see the resemblance, but
She is a very scary lady.
she's very
I
scary.
think she's so scary.
Yeah, her role in Pulp Fiction was like perfect.
She's like a snarling rabid animal in the movie.
She is.
And I feel like I saw her in another movie where she was real scary like that too. And I know A Butterfly's Kiss, I think that's what it's called. That is a movie that I would throw into the extra bin, where it's like she picks up another lady and they become lovers and they go around killing people.
Oh.
It's not. I don't think it's titillating in the least case. I think it's some pretty unhinged madness.
Yeah. Well,
watch that.
Because I mean, she's effectively. I mean, she's the love interest?
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
So she's playing the rock concert, and then just starts like she's not playing properly. Everybody's like, "What the heck?"
Like she's done with it. I think she hates the band.
Yeah, and then she walks off stage, and then it jumps to a very distant, static screen as like the titles are going, and I'm sitting there thinking, because I'm not really paying attention. I think I was eating at that point, and I kind of look up, and I'm looking up and down, and then I'm like, wait, I thought the screen was like coming closer. No, it's just.
It stays there.
Just stays there forever.
That was a really long opening credit. Are they faster with opening credits now? I feel like they're much faster now.
Like grind. I mean, it's just like clip, clip, clip.
I don't want to watch 4 minutes of opening credits without anything else to lock in on. That's why you need to play it over footage.
Yeah. Unless, again, the screen, I mean, it plays a part, but it's not like the central focus. So by the time we get to it, if you didn't know what to expect, you'd be like, oh, it's a TV or something.
Yeah, it's full of...
Right, but it doesn't necessarily loop back to the opening credit thing, which I think it's supposed to. I don't know. And then we see her driving in her car.
When did we go to the crucifix factory?
I think after she's in her car driving and the map.
Oh, the map thing is so unfunny. That's like something that would be in like a silly Coen Brothers thing.
Yeah, it's like it's 1985. You're going to need that map.
Oh, that's very true.
You know.
She's really wrestling with it when it's stuck to her face.
And she's driving like a convertible yellow Jeep, I believe is what it is.
Okay.
It might actually be a Volkswagen now that I think about it. So then we jump to Keith in what is passing as a factory.
Yeah.
It's like he's at a folding table in the corner.
Conveyor belt.
Technically, yeah. And he's packaging crucifixes.
Yeah.
Stark white, almost like, I don't know, porcelain crucifix.
Sealing them up in cellophane and putting them in a box.
Yeah, and then one rolls by, and I think the Jesus is in like a fetal position or something.
Yeah.
So he puts it in his bag.
It's so stupid.
You know?
That guy's staring at him.
Yep.
The foreman.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was security. I thought he looked like security, but I guess it's the foreman.
I've been watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show.
Really?
And in there,
Is that good?
It's okay. He's working at like a meat harvesting place.
Obi-Wan has a job?
Yeah.
Like to get by, or he's undercover?
I mean, he's sort of undercover because he's watching Luke from afar.
Is he a Jedi?
He's lost it quite a bit. This is probably 8 years after episode 3. But anyway, so they're cutting up this big animal, and every day he cuts an extra slab and folds it up and stuffs it in his apron to take home to eat.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, he's doing it in front of fucking everybody, and nobody seems to notice.
You don't see what I am doing.
But that's what I was thinking of when he was putting the crucifix in his bag. So that gets him fired.
Yeah.
And then he's walking down the street, and I don't know if you notice this, but you see Amanda Plummer's car drive by.
Of course I know. How would you? Are you joking?
No, because
it doesn't bright yellow.
But it doesn't like.
It's the only car that looks like that. That's not a natural
so I'm
car
like,
color.
Is that her, or is it just that they just don't have any extra cars?
So, man, she's back in town.
It's a nice touch, but it's like it doesn't really weigh on anything. It's not like mentioned. It's just like, oh, there it is. So
I mean, he slightly reacts to it.
Does he?
Yeah, I think there's like a twitch of like murder.
Okay.
But he doesn't really like stare at it and go after it.
I just remember him walking.
There was a disturbance in the force that he recognized.
And so either he goes home to put the crucifix on his wall of collection of crucifixes, or he just goes to the fish diner.
Yeah, that one's great. Is that a real place, you reckon?
I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon that's a real fish place.
Yeah.
They probably sell bait, but maybe they sell fish.
Could be. This was all filmed in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And we meet the waitress character.
Yep.
Who, well, first we see the boy by the jukebox.
Yeah.
Singing the cowboy
He's
song or
quirky.
some shit. Yeah.
Some more quirks.
I think that's her kid.
Is it? Oh, yeah, because he comes later.
Yeah. So she's like, hey.
So what are you doing here so early?
I got the hots for you. I think she's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Right.
You're looking at, I mean,
It's another example. It's another example of the lead actress and the one that they're pawning off as like fodder.
Yeah, I would be frightened of Amanda Plummer. This lady, I'm like, oh, she's just nice. She's cute.
She's really nice, right?
She's got an intensity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very feral.
Amanda Plummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something. Oh man.
If I
a real live wire.
Yeah. If I woke up and she had like blood smeared on her and was eating a part of me, I'd be like, I knew it.
I saw those crazy eyes.
Yeah. So they talk about his invention, I think, and he mentions he got fired.
The foreman, he caught me taking a piece from my collection.
And then he goes up the street and we see his cousin.
I know what you're thinking.
Doing the preaching.
Yep.
You're thinking, how will the total annihilation of the modern world as we know it affect me?
I forget the character's name and the actor's name, really. But
Frank, the warden in Shawshank Redemption, the one that kills himself.
That's right.
And he's about 10 years younger.
And he looks
good. He's hilarious, too.
Yeah.
I feel like he's playing the material perfectly. That guy's a good actor.
He's straight out of a Wes Anderson movie, and he's perfect.
And also points to his Asian wife for not having them do any of that bullshit they did in Waking the Dead. She's a regular lady.
Yeah.
No fake accent.
No.
No stupid comments.
No.
Just that's his wife. Those are the kids.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Kitty something. So he's like preaching on this motel landing outside like the fire escape or something.
Yeah.
He's got like signs set up in front about like Jesus.
It's all about World War III's coming.
And so Amanda Plummer is there already, and she's got a camera. And I think she takes a photo, and he's
Well,
like,
let's just say you hand that camera over to me, my little CIA agent, Julia, or is it KGB?
you a commie? A spy?
Infiltrator.
A whore? And then Keith walks up and like hugs her, and he's like,
You know this whore of Moscow?
How do Keith and her know each other, but she doesn't know this fucking weirdo?
good question, because she's from there.
Yeah.
Right?
This isn't a big town, I don't think.
No, and he's probably only a couple of years older than Keith.
That guy?
Yeah.
You think so?
A cousin? I mean, like, how old do you think he is? Compared to Keith.
That's a really good question. Well, I can give you some...
Because Keith's like...
He's about 25.
20. That's exactly what I was thinking, yeah. And that guy, I guess that guy's probably in his 30s.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like 6 to 8 years older.
Let's say he's 35, because, I mean, if he's the warden in Shawshank, he'd be like 45.
That's true.
40.
I'm assuming Amanda Plummer grew up there,
Yeah.
right? Because the waitress is like,
each other.
you got out.
Like you ever went anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And Keith, his parents are dead,
Yes.
which I didn't realize until they mentioned it pretty far into the movie. It's like,
far into the movie that they revealed it?
they may have revealed it earlier, but
I think
it wasn't
touched on it earlier.
It wasn't until later in the movie when they mention it that as like the motivation for his device.
They died in a car accident, right? The two of them?
Whoa, you can tell me.
I think so. I think
Okay.
they both died in a car accident. I think she asked how his parents are, and he's like,
Dead.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So he's touching her jacket. It's weird. Did you notice that? When they're just standing there talking, and he just keeps like grabbing her coat
oh, no.
and like feeling the fabric.
Who goes around stealing people's material? It's insanity.
I never seen a coat like this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another 15 years before it comes here to Fishtown.
Yeah, and then he's like, let's meet up for dinner.
We eat at the fish restaurant. It's shaped like a fish.
So then they go to the diner, and I think that's when he orders like a burger, and then he's like, I gotta go.
I gotta go, I'm sorry. Remember that lawyer I told you about? It's like 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm meeting a lawyer.
I don't have any money also. Would you pay for it?
We don't happen to have any.
And then that's when Amanda Plummer starts talking to the waitress, and it kind of seems like she's on her side throughout most of the movie. Like,
Plumbers?
yeah.
Well, they have like a weird moment. Isn't there kind of a weird vibe a little bit initially? And then Amanda Plummer asks Keith if he's dating the waitress, and he's like, not really.
I think when she brought him the burger, she senses something. And so she's like, what? And I think they said they went out like once or twice or something. So he goes to meet the lawyer, and he's carrying around an electric mixer.
Yeah, do they ever clarify what the point? Oh, it's just for...
He pulls a part out of it. later in the movie
Okay.
that's in his
The
diagram.
last part? Yeah, that diagram.
So- well, yeah, because he pulls the diagram out, right? At the diner. And then she comes in and it's just like a fucking huge poster. And she's like, oh, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's from my invention. It's top secret, even though I'm just showing it everywhere. So he goes to meet the lawyer. And the lawyer, there's a kind of a funny little bit where he's like,
Is that it?
it's a blender.
Oh, that is blender.
The blender's already been invented, Mr. Blake. I believe it was Oscar Beach. Or perhaps it was Samuel Hamilton.
Does he make that joke?
He does.
That's funny. Hamilton Beach joke.
In any event, this is not a new idea.
And Keith's like, no, it's not my invention. It's like, well, then why the fuck did you put it on his desk?
Some Shark Tank shit. He's trying to. You got to make the transition quicker.
Just put that next to you.
Don't confuse them.
Yeah. Hey, oh, yeah. Mr. Money is not having that shit.
Well, he's not even looking. Is he looking at him to be an investor?
I think he's
a copyright guy.
Yes.
He's trying to. So fuck that
He's
lawyer.
even-
The lawyer's only job is just to do what he says.
true, but at the same time, don't do cute stuff and confuse the guy.
Look, Mr. Blake, Fred Savins is just a small-town lawyer. But he doesn't have time to play games.
Yeah, there's no point in selling him on anything. You don't need to.
And Keith is pretty smug in this scene too, because he's got a Cracker Jack invention.
He's smug a lot in this movie because he thinks he's a couple steps ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, and also I think personally because he's like, yeah, we did this.
Well, I think he's just got the
I'll never be in a Rodney Dangerfield movie ever.
Except for after this one comes out, and I'll be in the Rodney Dangerfield movie.
Yeah.
No, I almost feel like it seems like a religious person. He feels like he's got to step up on other people because he has a personal relationship with God.
Is he religious? I don't.
No, that's just kind of the vibe I get,
Yeah.
like having that extra info that makes him better than other people.
Mhm.
Might be, I don't know.
No, I mean it's hard to tell what's going on a lot of the time for his motivations, I guess, other than what we're told. So there's like the guy's like,
Wait up there. Call me when it's ready.
yeah, I'm gonna leave when he goes out the door. And it's around Christmas time too.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember the Christmas Eve comment.
Well, and when she drives by him when he's walking down the street, there's like a tinsel bell hung up on a lamppost right out of frame almost. I was like, oh, it must be Christmas. I think he mentioned to her we should meet at like 5:34.
Yeah, what? And like, you'll see, like, there's something very important about it.
Why 5:34?
Yeah.
And then he gets there at 5:39.
Yeah.
And nothing happened, right?
Well, all it was so the copy, I watched this on YouTube and it was like 240p, right? So it's already kind of hard to tell visually some of the finer details, but the audio wasn't that great either. So when they're standing there with the smokestacks in the back, I'm like getting nothing.
Yeah.
And there's no subtitles and shit. So basically what he says is it's the sunset and he's been coming there for like 2 months or something to watch the sunset, which is why he said that exact time.
The sun wasn't down, though.
No, and he was late also. So I don't know. That's what he said. And she kissed his neck for some reason. And then she drew back and then he just looked at her. And then the scene pretty much ended.
But like the framing of that shot's good.
I like
That's a
it.
good looking shot. There's a lot of moments in this movie where like this is carefully put together.
That kind of feels like something that you might see in a movie like Mother Night. That's sort of
Did you watch it?
no. But I'm familiar. I read the book.
Okay.
And I'm familiar with the sort of the basics.
Yeah.
Even though it's been years since I've read it. But I mean like that sort of industrial sort of claustrophobia kind of the factory just takes up almost the whole background.
Mhm.
And,
Blinking at you.
oh, mhm.
I also really like the shot where he goes into that locked room for the first time.
Yeah.
They made it look bigger than it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if my imagination took over.
Yeah, it looked like this room, probably actually this whole basement from afar. But then later when we're in there, it's like this half of the room.
Yeah, if that.
If that, yeah. Because is he living in the motel?
Oh, I don't know.
Because like
I thought it was his house.
when those
parents'
old
house.
guys are outside, remember like the guy comes and it's like a second story.
Yeah. Is he living there? I thought it was his parents' house. He's living at the
I
hotel.
think he's living at the hotel.
Gotta ask Keith.
When he opened up that door for the first time, I couldn't quite tell what he was doing because of the quality of the movie. And then I saw him put something around his neck. And I'm like, oh, is he gonna like hang himself from the doorknob or something? Some autoerotic
Yeah.
asphyxiation.
It's the only way he can talk to his parents again.
Yeah.
Just for that split second before he almost dies.
So he goes into the room and we just see the invention under a sheet.
Yeah, it almost looks like a body or something.
And I'm like, that don't look like no TV. And then I think at that point he goes to his cousins, and they're all dressed in radiation suits.
My Christmas present to the family.
What the fuck is going on here?
They're meant to be radiation. I think they're just like painting suits.
Yeah.
Stay up to 200 times normal level.
That's what I look like when I was scraping the lead paint off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what I look like when I'm Breaking Bad.
Hell yeah.
Is this just a test, or do I have seconds to live?
Then he gives him a present. Since kids are running amok, the wife's like, "Can I take this dumb fucking suit off?" He wants some Tang. She's got like a huge jug.
Oh, Tang would be nice.
That's pretty good.
You know?
Survival jug of Tang.
Yeah.
Tang doesn't go bad. As long as we got water and we got Tang, we're good to go.
And they both only get like the smallest glass.
And it's gross.
Oh, yeah.
It's grainy.
So he gives him the present, and he's like, "Well, I'm having the reveal party. I gotta go get some party stuff, so I gotta leave now, but y'all should come by."
Do we ever see what's in the press?
That's the gun.
Oh.
I don't think we actually see it, but when he talks about it later, I think he
My
said,
cousin gave it to me for Christmas.
so I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they do show it. It seemed like something they should show.
I have a gun in my bag.
And then I think at this point, Amanda Plummer is at the diner, and the lady's like,
Don't you ever get a break? Can you sit down for a while?
she's like, "I'll come sit down and have a cigarette."
You want me to?
And they're just talking gal talk.
Not everybody is as lucky as you. You could have got stuck in this town just like anybody else.
Why didn't you ever leave? Oh, I don't know.
Just turned out that way.
Where'd the kid come from?
Good question.
Who made that in her?
Good question. And
Put that baby in there.
is the diner owned by her father?
I don't have a clue.
Okay. Then it's pretty much the reveal night. I mean,
Yeah.
this movie moves.
It does clip along nicely. I would also like to say I felt confident in this movie during the fantasy press conference scenario.
Guess I'm a little relieved.
And I was like, fucking Keith is good in this.
Again, that kind of feels like something out of like a Vonnegut, movie with like a Mother Night. And yeah, he's got a weird face.
Got a real cat's cradle vibe to him.
Like his eyes can kind of get like real bulging
Yeah.
and like maniacal. And then he's kind of got like a bucktooth thing going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then he's got like a hobnob nose. Yeah.
You're so mean.
I mean, like, it's not.
I think he's pretty cute in this movie.
He's not. No, he's not ugly or
Yeah.
anything. He's just got very striking features. At some moments, he looks like Jerry Seinfeld with his
Yeah.
mullet, and
He's got kind of that. Yeah, okay.
kind of like the focal point of his face is like very finite, and everything seems to draw in. But I mean, I can see why they hired him to kind of be the stud in Billie Jean.
See, I don't get that.
I mean, he probably actually should have went with Christian Slater in that role. Got somebody else to be your brother.
He's too young.
He probably
He's
was.
very young.
Well, she's a cradle robber, saving Kenny.
Kenny's gonna be spending some time at his grandma's.
Anyways, so I like there's like old men outside taking bets.
Ray, I'll bet you $10. I know that Ernie for a long time. I'll bet she's got something up there like a new laser weapon or something.
That was actually really funny when he went outside.
And that one guy is trying to.
You're right, he's crazy.
And then the one guy is like in the center or the foreground. He's like trying to talk, and they keep going on. So I think, and
I think he's got something.
How much of this do you think Keith is responsible for writing? Like, who's this? I mean, the dialogue's good. It's funny. This movie really should be a giant hunk of shit for like two young guys just throwing it together and putting it out there.
because Mark,
It should be what Mark Romanek thinks it is.
he wrote 1 Hour Photo too, right?
Probably. Which
he?
is a good looking movie, but as far as I remember, it's actually not that great of a movie.
I've heard it's one of those movies where, in hindsight, like there's a small collection of people who are like, no, it's better than you think. I've not gone back to watch it.
Have you ever seen it?
I did right around when it came out.
Same seas.
And I know going into it, the whole thing was, oh, it's Robin Williams like you've never seen.
Man, they sold us on that a few times. I feel like
Yeah.
you'll never believe what Robin Williams does this time.
He's a genie. What?
So reveal.
Yeah, so he's having a little bit of a party.
The kids are over there in lizard masks.
That's their gift from him.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the like poster options for the
Kid
movie.
in lizard head.
Yeah, like a black and white picture of them standing at the
Oh, is that what that is? I've seen that
Yeah.
box.
I'm
but I
pretty
just
sure
investigate to see what was going on there. Like a vaguely like satanic panic type cover. And when you just kind of glance at it, it's
Yeah,
haunted.
like a Fugazi record.
Yeah.
And then
Bloody letters.
and then the waitress puts on Amanda Plummer's band's record
We don't allow this punk shit in our house.
really loud.
And it's great, and the kids are dancing to it.
Yeah,
The
and
shit
Keith's like,
rocks.
I think we should turn it down, please.
Who says that?
Keith.
Yeah.
He's a fucking idiot. And then so the lawyer comes in. He's like, am I at the right place? The heck?
Mr. Blake, you got me out on Christmas Eve. Gotta get back to my family. Could you just show me your machine.
So Keith kind of corrals them up and does a thing, and then he goes to unlock the door.
Before we go in, I just want you to know that until now, no other person besides myself has been in this room. I just want to ask that no food or drink be brought inside.
And they go into the room, and then he does another speech.
After today, people will be happy and not sad.
And then he reveals the product, and he does another speech.
Essentially, this is a television, but it's not a normal television. This is indeed a television that can tune in heaven.
And it's basically like a 1970s monitor, computer monitor, with an adjacent box with knobs and shit on it, and like a little satellite dish on top.
Bernie, you can see heaven?
It's kind of great.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, I don't know, just a TV
Yeah, I don't know.
that he turns on, you know, but he uses the remote, dials the numbers, and
I'll show you.
It is keep shifting the satellite to get it pick up the static.
and so he's like, yeah, this is going to let you see heaven, basically.
It's a broadcast. Nobody will ever be sad again. Nobody has to be afraid.
You can't necessarily interact with heaven or choose what you want to see. It's just, you can tap into the one CCTV up there.
It's a real question mark as to what would be on that TV. Do the people you love wander over and talk to you?
Right. Yeah.
Is it just to see? Yeah, a CCTV shot would really make the most sense.
Just like that one high angle corner cam.
Why would there be a camera?
Looking at like the loading dock door or something, you know.
It would have to be a camera.
There
Why
would.
would there be a camera?
And yeah, it makes no sense.
No.
Unless heaven is some sort of a plane of existence that can somehow be tapped into, like radio waves or something. Like
Heaven is radio.
heaven is radio waves.
Well, that's why music touches us.
Indeed, Christian music
Yes.
especially. And so everybody's like, "Oh, dude, there's nothing going on."
But you can tell he sees it.
Yeah,
right?
and he's proud of himself. And so the lawyer's like, "All right, man,
Fuck y'all, I'm out of here.
later." And then his cousin, he goes outside. And he's like,
Okay, Nagy, pay up. He's crazy.
"Ain't shit."
You owe me $20.
Damn
The waitress is like, not like disappointed, but also not like concerned, just kind of like confused. This guy? I went out with this guy.
Yeah.
And so they leave. And then Amanda Plummer is like, I mean, it's, you know, and he's like,
Julia, will you get the fuck out of here?
oh, he does say it's a fuck word.
Yeah, he
So
does.
that's probably where the,
Nah, man. You and I both know PG-13 means you can
I know.
talk about 9 times
Well-
in the 80s.
well, now technically only once. And as long as it's not sexual.
Now.
Now, I don't know what it would have been in 1995. Probably would have been a lot more loose. I mean, you could have ripped out a man's heart and still gotten a PG-13 rating. So I don't know why it's rated R.
Religious satire?
Unless it's rated R, and like it had to be re-rated. And they're saying, well, there's like a hostage situation.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Unless I missed a dick or something.
No.
And so he sits with the box and he just stares at it.
I'll rewatch for dicks later.
Okay.
I'll watch it at least one more time.
Okay.
Dick hunting.
I almost bought a DVD.
Really? I don't feel like the picture's going to be... I feel like somebody probably put the copies that are up onto a DVD.
It's hard to say because, like, maybe it's just that the copy that I had was so bad that by comparison, this just looks better.
Dude, the VHS rip looked better than the YouTube rip.
I'm gonna assume that's what that was a VHS rip
Laserdisc.
because it's standard format.
I compared them scene by scene for like a minute or so. And I said, this copy I downloaded is better than the YouTube.
Well, now it's not showing up. Maybe they were all bought out.
Mark Romanek snatching them up.
Yeah, he's like, God damn it, I told them. So he's distraught. And I think pretty much right from there, it jumps to him on the bus, right?
Yeah, and he's talking to the old lady.
Yeah, she comes over.
Are you going to Albuquerque?
For some reason, she gets out of her seat, moves over and sits next to him and wants to start gabbing.
I have a niece that lives in Grants, that's nearby. She's a
Look,
very
ma'am,
pretty girl.
ma'am.
Dude, fucking old people love talking to young people. I get that now. As I'm getting older, I can picture this.
You like talking to young people?
No, not right now.
Oh.
But when I'm like 60, 80, if there's a young person stuck near me,
Mhm.
I'm like, hey, man.
Fresh meat.
I used to do stuff.
It's like
Doing things.
it's like the guy at the grocery store. Sir, I'm just checking out your groceries. Well, let me tell you about 1942. Sir, I'm just, you know.
I'm cornered by old people. When I worked at the coffee shop,
Oh,
there would be people, and I'm really nice. So then it's like, oh, good, they're here to talk to me for 20 minutes again. They came in to see me.
As long as it's an interesting story, I'm fine with it. I was doing a walk around once in a park, and I sat down on a bench next to an old guy. I was like, you mind if I sit down just for a second? He's like, oh, yeah, sure. And he's got like his ex-Air Force hat, and he's just telling me all sorts of stories about like traveling in San Diego.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he talked my ear off for like 45 minutes.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while.
I was talking to my neighbor. I thought we just had an old man living next door. He's got a wife. I talked to her for about a half hour when I needed to get back to work. Like, I came home to do something, and then she's like, hey! And we all went over there. And then I was, like, engaging her because I had questions about the neighborhood, about the vacant lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're on the bus.
Yeah, and so this is where it kind of really gets a little madcap, but not in a bad way. I think what is the other older lady's name?
Sarah.
Marjorie? Not Marge.
Sarah.
I don't know. Sarah. But so she's talking to Keith, and he's like, lady, I just want to be alone. And so she's like, all right. Starts reading her book, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be alone. And I made this thing, and I know it works, and nobody can see it, and I got a gun in my bag. And she's like,
Why did you bring it here?
None yet. Well, he starts off with, I have a gun. She's like, I have a gun, too.
Yeah,
He's
right.
Like, I have a gun in my bag.
Oh, was that right? She's not alarmed.
No.
And she's like, are you planning on hurting anybody? And he's like, oh, no.
I don't think I could ever hurt anybody.
Well, you know what, though? Really fucked a lot of people over there, buddy.
So then he starts telling her about his device. And she calls over her friend, who's a real hoot.
Sarah, get over here.
Before you know it, there's a gaggle of elderly folk listening. And they're traveling on a Greyhound, but it's pretty loosey-goosey. In fact, when I showed the driver, I was like, he's not surrounded by a cage. What the hell? Because nowadays they have like a border behind them and then like a gate that they open next to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this a COVID thing?
It was pre-COVID. Now, after COVID, they've also got the plexiglass.
Huh.
But yeah, some of them had like a little gate. It's stupid. It's like I can still reach you.
You can't stop me, says Jules.
The
last time I was on a Greyhound was like 2005.
Yeah, it's been ages since I've been on a Greyhound.
Oh wait, you went to Fargo on one.
Well, that was about then, wasn't it?
No, I mean, I was in the house by then, so it was at least 2011 or 12.
Yeah, because I moved here in 2009.
I was still in college for the other trip. But that wasn't that we were doing stand-up. So actually it was probably like 2014.
Yeah.
If we was telling jokes.
Right, because of the Pussy Bandit or something.
That was
the Fargo Pussy Breaker.
He divulges that his plan was to perhaps hijack the bus so that he could talk to the media and broadcast his device. So she's like, well, that's a pretty good idea. We should do that.
Yeah, just guns.
So she's like,
Let's go talk to the driver.
And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, hey, driver, he's got a gun and he wants to take us hostage.
It's very funny, man.
She goes, show him your gun.
Oh, I left my bag on the seat.
She goes, hey.
Ernie left his bag on the seat there. Would you bring it here, please?
So the other lady comes up with the bag and he pulls out the gun and the guy's like, oh, shit.
All right, now, this joke has gone far enough. Ladies, you're going to have to sit down now, and you put that thing away.
He's like, I'm going to hijack this. In fact, pull over up there and whatnot. So he broadcasts on the CB radio.
Hatch, we got a situation here.
A hijack. Tell it. Go ahead. It's all right.
A hijack.
We got a hijacked bus here.
They mention Ernie Blick.
Ernest Blick.
Keith Gordon's character's name. At which point, because the cousin's like a lunatic, he's always got a scanner going, so he hears it.
And the cop is the cop from the beginning, right?
The sheriff.
He told Frank to get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
He was proselytizing?
Yeah, he was proselytizing. And so the sheriff and the deputy come out. Frank comes out and says, keep Frank back. And the deputy's like, all right, Frank, stay back, man. And he starts talking to him on the CB like,
Ernie, I'm giving you 30 seconds to get out of
what are
here.
you doing, bro? I'm a hostage taker.
I
And he's
want press people here with TV cameras, and I want to have an interview. A press conference.
we know you're not going to do anything.
Ernie, what if I can't set that up?
So then all of a sudden that lady pops out and she's like,
He's beating me up. Do what he says.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And also, isn't the cop like fuck away from me. I don't like you. Isn't that what he
Yeah,
says
because
to
then Frank comes up and puts his arm around him. He's like, what's the situation? He's like, Frank, get your hands off him.
That is, yes, shitter.
Keith goes to shut that shitter up, and he trips, I think, on the old man. There's an old man sleeping on the bus the whole time.
Of course.
And he fires the gun, and the lady, the grandma, goes, oh, and she falls inside, and they're like, oh shit, Keith's shooting grannies. This guy means fucking business. And no, I don't think anybody's injured. I think to clarify that. So he's like, get the news reporter down here and shit. He's like, what about the SWAT team from somewhere? What's a big city in Nevada?
Las Vegas.
No, this isn't Nevada. This is Arizona.
Yes, Las Cruces. That might be New Mexico.
Yeah.
Phoenix? Pueblo.
Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix is Arizona.
Maybe we ought to call the Phoenix SWAT team.
Anyways, so a media circus kind of comes up. And at the same time that Amanda Plummer goes back to his apartment.
Yeah.
And for some reason he left his TV on, set to the news channel, because she sees it unfolding live on TV. Even though she doesn't see him and the volume's down, she's like, oh my God. And she turns it up. Keith. So she goes out there.
We've got the Fargo pussy breaker trapped on this.
So like, yeah, there's a guy with like a rifle. He's getting on top of a van. There's a bunch of news people there. Amanda Plummer shows up, and she's like, I don't know if you know who my father is, but you better let me in.
Listen, Sheriff, I'm a friend of Bernie's, and I think I know.
Now listen, we have things under control here, miss.
So she's like, well, maybe talk some sense into him. And she's like,
You asshole, what the fuck are you doing?
maybe that's where all the cursing comes from.
Okay.
Maybe there's some more cursing in the earlier scene too.
Maybe it's maybe we're confused.
Yeah, maybe somebody shows her taint. I don't know.
Is there?
Could be.
That sounds maybe, because I was confident there was no penises.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be a
clean
taint.
region.
I might just not have noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Flabby, heavy, babby.
So then they eventually decide, well, let's put the news reporter and camera on the bus. It's acquiesced to his demands, and then he'll just give up. He's unfolding his map, his plans.
He's not supposed to do that. Though. See, you're never supposed to give in to them.
No.
Then people are like, all right, there's only one solution to my problem.
Yeah.
Hostages.
Mm-hmm. Because you always get what you want.
Yeah, it's like Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Right.
Good to go. People just give you that wish.
So he's like,
the main component is the antenna.
and this is
a converter.
And they're like, oh, this is a very good invention. We should probably see this invention. And he's like,
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the idea of all this.
Turn around.
hey, bus driver, take us over there.
Sheriff ain't gonna like that.
So they start driving, and the cops are like, oh shit, they're moving. And they start shooting out the tires, and then they hit the gas tank, and the bus just explodes. And everybody's fucking dead.
Everybody, all the old ladies, the news team,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bus driver.
And Amanda Plummer, we see her in the background the burning bus, and she's in the foreground, and she's just like, she crumples. And I was like, damn, this movie just took a turn.
It really did.
I didn't know what to expect, but at that point it could have went really anyway.
I thought the device would end up working, and like everybody be like, oh wow,
Mm-hmm.
heaven moved.
So then she goes back again to the apartment, and the device is still on. And that's when I thought, oh God, don't start working. Show Keith in heaven. You know,
Stares at the static, though, right?
touches the screen.
Is there any implication that she's seeing it now?
No.
It's just him. He's mentally ill.
Yeah, she touches the screen, I think, because it's just like, oh, Keith touched this. And then she gets into her yellow Volkswagen and fucking drives off.
That's the end.
And then it holds for a very long time on the road. And then it ends.
I'll give that to you for half price. I like the first 2/3 more than the last chunk.
Yeah.
With the bus. I was a little bit tapped out by the time the bus rolled around. I expected a little bit more from the machine reveal.
Mm-hmm. It kind of seemed like maybe the bus was... Maybe that's what Mark had a problem with.
Like, he didn't have a third act, and they're just like, let's do this.
Yeah. What can he take out? Well, he's on a bus for some reason.
Old ladies.
Where is he going? I don't know. Somewhere.
It does seem like there could be a bigger theme, more soul to give to the movie.
It just goes from 6 people seeing it doesn't work to him hijacking this bus.
Yeah.
And then they're all dead. It's like, maybe they couldn't figure out how to end it then. So they're like, well, it blows up.
I mean, it's an interesting twist in that we kill off a bunch of people. Like, but yeah, I guess the movie didn't really pan out to be much.
No.
It's an almost. That's what I think. It's an almost.
Yeah, right.
It's got a lot going for it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seal the deal.
No, and I wrote back to you, it may have just been ahead of the curve. If this had come out 10 years later.
But even then...
It would have been behind the curve at that point.
We need like another 6 months of the script.
Yeah. It's your question about who did what it's been weighing on me this whole time.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I got a sense at all of who Keith is in this journey that we're on.
You know what? I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think we can apply any of the characters we've seen to him.
No.
There's one interview where he's like being very friendly, show busy guy, and I was like, is this maybe the real Keith? I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, this seems like you're just trying to have a good attitude for an interview, talking to a weirdo.
During an acting period, or
it's for when he is getting, I think, a midnight clear off the ground.
Okay.
Or maybe I think it's being shown places. He's talking to some lady.
Yeah.
So it's like 91 or whatever. I'll find those links and send them to you. She's got a weird name. I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know who this guy is either.
Most of the movies seem like either he fell into the role or it was just a job. Like Jaws, it was like an early gig. He's playing a nerd because he kind of looks nerdy. And then that kind of carries over into Dressed to Kill. He's a little nerdy, but yeah, I don't know. Because then like the
Legend
of Billie Jean or whatever comes out and you're just like, whoa, this is like a sharp miscast.
Yeah. Well, and then it happens again in, Back to School. We'll get into Back to School.
Yeah.
There's like...
Back to School, it feels like that movie broke him.
Yeah.
For one, he's like... Well,
we shouldn't talk yet. We're
about to just go right into episode 9.
Some of these movies made me appreciate Jaws 2 a little bit more. Like, I felt like he was a better actor than I was giving him credit for because I wasn't wowed on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dressed to Kill, he's really very good at. And then by the time Billie Jean comes around, you're just like, I felt like you were making some choices before in these movies, and now I don't. He ends up doing like bland.
Yeah.
It's odd.
I think I heard him referred to as like a glorified understudy for De Palma or something. Not the most flattering of descriptions when I was just kind of rifling through like articles as we watch these movies.
So more thoughts on Static. I don't know.
Did he write the script for Mother Night?
Oh, I don't know.
Co-writer.
Because he's handing it to Nick Nolte, right?
Yeah.
In the movie.
He must be involved in some... Or maybe he's writing all of this.
Because Kurt Vonnegut is in Back to School.
Which is pretty funny.
So I guess ratings. I mean,
yeah.
It's gonna... I feel like I want to talk about this movie more, but I feel like I also have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, I feel like there should be more to say about it.
Like it left an imprint on me. More so than a lot of the movies we watched.
Yeah, I wasn't miserable watching it.
I feel it's a pretty well made first attempt from a writer-director.
It should be a lot shittier. Well, but I feel like there's like 10 movies in the 90s that would maybe compare this to that I can't remember the names of any of them.
Sure.
But this is like it had that kind of a vibe. Like,
well, you know what?
It's not tour.
I think Callie, she watched a little bit of this with me. She put it perfectly, where she says this reminds her of an early Linklater movie, like Slackers.
Maybe the setting a little bit too, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not much. It's a really threadbare plot.
Yeah.
There's things happening, and there's performances, and it's got a vision of some sort, but it's just not formed yet.
I would say, you know what? One of the best things I could say about it is the acting doesn't suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost all of the I think all of the actors. Is there anybody you'd be like, they weren't that good? I feel like everybody was good.
Even like just the old guy extras.
Yeah.
Who were probably just guys. Yeah, I thought the waitress was great. Amanda Plummer, I don't necessarily like her.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about her. She's not bad.
But no, I don't know if she's right for this role, but she's fine in it. Because at one point he's like...
I've thought a lot about you while you're gone.
Is she not in love with him as well? Is it not a romance?
I don't know, man. She just left to be a keyboardist. And
that band's dope, though.
The band was on fire.
God damn, I would buy the soundtrack. I would also like to point out this is probably the first use of the song. What's it called?
Is that the opening song?
Not the one that they're playing.
No, but like
when she's on the road that they play for too long.
They liked it. His use of it.
This is the day.
And then they had him direct 2 of their music videos.
Okay, nice.
Because of this,
this song's great.
Yeah,
it's been used a billion times since then, but I bet you this is the first time.
Yeah, it's got a kind of light synthwave kind of soundtrack at times.
And weirdly, the movie I was gonna say that the song very weirdly timeless. Considering it came out quite a while, it doesn't seem aged at all.
Probably because they didn't use those fucking drums from the 80s that everybody was using. Like the "She Drives Me Crazy," that fucking electro drum pads and shit.
You said it's groovy.
Yeah, it's.
You didn't say.
No, I didn't. I would give this movie a 6.
A 6. I think 6 is good. I like a 6. It's not a 7.
No, it's not a 5.
It's not a shit. Yeah.
No, it's not a stinker. All the performances were good. There wasn't like I said, this movie fucking moves at a clip.
Yeah.
I checked the time just to see. I'm like, damn, it's only 20 minutes left. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's not long either. It's
You know?
not like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah,
It's not
hour and a half, maybe even just under. Maybe
It might be like 99 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it looked good. Some of the shots did kind of linger a little bit. When you're in when she goes to pay for the food at the diner, it's like she's just at the diner booth and gets up to pay the bill, and it's just like, oh, that kid's gonna make it. That one guy said, it's like, okay,
We didn't need that.
yeah.
Hey, a question before you rate Keith's performance.
Yep.
How do our rankings go again? Is it like, are you doing 10 out of how good he is compared to his other performances, or is it?
I'm going by how good the performance is within the movie. Are you ranking him based on his other performances?
No, I'm thinking like, I mean, I would probably give him like an 8. I think this might be the best I've seen him.
Yeah.
I almost want to give him like a 9.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, there's other people out there that are better actors. So like, it might be insulting to give him a 9, and then I don't know, who do we get later?
Well, but he carries the movie.
Yeah. What's your?
I'd give him an 8. Absolutely.
An 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cross my life.
So 6 and an 8, and I'd say 6 and an 8 for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I could see watching this again.
Oh, I
At
don't.
some point when I'm on my deathbed.
Yeah.
Getting ready to go into heaven. I'm gonna watch this movie. Turn this gaddatic on. Hang on.
For 6 weeks, 60 years ago, part of my life.
I feel like I know you more than I know my oldest brother.
So tune in next week for Back to School.
Mm-hmm.
We're really at the tail end of Keith Gordon here.
We're closing it out.
I forgot there was another movie after Back to School. That's why I was really quite sad.
I did too.
I was like, this is it. This is the end of Keith Gordon.
I figured, oh, okay, well, this will go out on one that I know.
We are going to do a single episode covering some of his TV shows. And I don't know that, Jules, you don't have to watch them all. I'll watch that shit.
I'll watch them.
I think for Dexter and The Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
we just need to find his scene within the show.
That's fair.
Because I think both of them are like, hey, I'm in this for 11 seconds and 1 minute.
Right.
I don't think this is another question I'd like to ask him. I think that he's directing those episodes, and I'm wondering if he is short an actor that day, or if he's just like, yeah, I'll be in it.
Yeah.
Just to act.
Maybe he's an M. Night. He's like, I got to be a sort of small character in everything I do.
I don't think he's got that kind of. That's an M. Night's got like a weird ego thing.
Yeah.
I think he's a terrible guy.
Personally?
Yeah, I heard he's a real asshole.
I'd buy that.
I'll believe anything I read on Reddit, but I think there was like
that's I'll buy that.
Sold American.
People were talking about him coming into the restaurant they work at. He's always an asshole and never tips.
It's hard to really gauge stories like that.
I think about that sometimes. I think a lot of it is people bother them every second of their life.
Sure.
If they're out public or near anybody that wants peace at home.
I think some of that is also the handlers have to deal with them more than anybody else. So they're trying to create an environment where there's no cause for them to be upset.
Yeah.
Because somebody's bothering them. Oh, I liked you in, Side of House Rules or whatever.
So Prince isn't flipping the fuck out, but that's because they're making sure not everybody's saying hi to him every second of the day.
Exactly.
Lead to a frenzy.
Everybody's got a bad day, You got to pay the cost to be the boss.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Check out our Instagram. We doing filmographies.
Yep.
Email us at we doing filmographies. Get us on there. Twitter.
Doing filmographies?
Do filmographies.
Do filmographies.
I think it's do filmographies.
Okay.
Is that all of them?
Maybe we should get a hotline.
Oh, do you guys want a voicemail? We could do a voicemail.
Oh, yeah.
763-634-1897.
That reminds me, right at like the beginning of the pandemic, when I was taking care of my mom, we were watching a lot of daytime TV, and there was a commercial that ran, I'm pretty sure only once. And in it, it's like some like slacker guy, and he's like, hey, here's my phone number. Call me and tell me to get a job. And I'm like, what? So I called it, and he answered. He's like, hello, this is whatever. What's up? And I was like, get a job. And he was like, oh yeah, what do you think I should do? And I was like, oh God, I don't know, man. I don't got anything. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck this is. And I hung up.
What do you think that was?
I think it was just some guy who was, I don't know, bored, figured out that buying by on this particular moment was like,
what channel were you watching?
I mean, it must have been like
a My 25,
like one of those digital TV ones.
Yeah.
So whatever's kind of picked up locally. Yeah. Like My 25.
Was it a local number?
I think it was an 888 number.
Oh.
God, yeah, and it like happened so quick that I mean there was no way to capture it. But I couldn't even remember it after it had happened. And
you should see if you can find any evidence of this online.
I need to, yeah, because it was like the most batshit bonkers. I wish I would have had like the wherewithal to really get into it with the guy. I wonder how many people called too, because I got through right away.
Yeah,
that's weird, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, hey, if ad buys are that cheap, we could do a commercial.
So we could do them for like My 25,
yeah,
or whatever. Man, I was thinking about doing a medical infomercial, like you see those all the time.
Yeah.
It's for like toe removal from people that walk around, not just like pole legs.
Yeah.
Like they don't need to us.
Sure.
I thought that was real funny.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
That's pretty funny. I think on that note,
goodbye.
I've been Jules.
And I've been Jason. And
good night.
We Doing Filmographies is proud to be a part of the Now Playing Network. Find other great podcasts at nowplayingnetwork.net, like The Directors Club, where host Jim Laskowski and co-hosts dive deep into directors like Adam Egoyan and Hal Hartley. The Directors Club at nowplayingnetwork.net.